Hello everyone and welcome back to Greyhammer. Today we're going to be going over one of the things that probably needs the most work in Planet Zoo of all, and that's going to be our path improvement. So, everyone knows Planet Zoo paths, not necessarily the best. There's definitely some ways we can make them better, and so we're going to talk about those today, see what we can kind of figure out about different kinds of pathing improvements. This is probably going to be a shorter video compared to my other ones because just just is. That's how it is. So let's get into it right away. If you do like this kind of content of kind of speculation of what Planet Zoo can do to improve, and other Planet Zoo content, along with other just content in general about Warhammer, Dungeons and Dragons, things of that nature, please go ahead and like this video and subscribe to the channel. And let's get into it. So, smaller paths. There are technically ways you can do this, but they're janky, and I think it would be better to have it built into the system. So adding 2 to 3 meter paths to the regular path, which is going to allow you to make a lot more interesting shapes and side paths off of the main path. So you can just areas that maybe you go for like a brief viewing area for an animal that's maybe not as popular, that you don't need to worry about massive amounts of traffic going down. Or maybe you're just creating like a winding path through like the woods, and you don't need it to look too much like it's massive paths. That could be a method to kind of just get your guest in these smaller paths, and I think it would work really well. There's a method with the cube paths I haven't been able to make. I haven't tried it because I thought I knew how to do it, and then turns out I did not. So I need to watch a tutorial if I actually want to use it. But I don't know. I kind of don't use regular Planet Zoo paths anyway. So that's one way you can improve it. Let's look at the next way. More pathing tools. This is the main one. This is probably what, if anything, Planet Zoo needs this. And this is something that I'm not sure if they can do it with their current engine. So they may need a whole new game engine similar to Planet Coaster 2 in order to implement some of these features. This is probably where we're going to be talking about it quite a bit more. And here's one thing also I would love. In this vein, I heard Caesar Crates talking about it recently, though it was one of his older videos. We should have one-way paths. I think that would be a great way to control guest flow, especially through buildings. Would be really cool, but that's kind of just an aside. So things to do like the fill and stamp tools in Planet Coaster, different path shapes. If you remember Zoo Tycoon 2, the shapes were rectangular, if I remember correctly, but when you deleted them, you would get triangles. So different shapes for paths, like a circle and square path is kind of what we've got already. Technically circle and square are the shapes that we have, but could be nice to have bigger circles. Sorry if you heard my phone vibrate. Then triangle and hexagon shapes would be useful, so that would allow you to create much more interesting viewing areas, smoother path flows, and yeah, those interesting lookout areas where you could have a hexagon. I've definitely wanted this because I was trying to build a building with a hexagonal viewing area, and that was not quite how I wanted it, because I just had to have some dead space where they weren't actually walking on because I was using squares. So triangles or hexagon shaped would be really cool. Allow you to make more interesting pathing systems. So let's move on to the next one. Better terrain interactions. This is something that will drive the ever-living daylights out of you. So allowing your paths to move closer to fences and water, that's one thing. Water and paths do not like each other whatsoever. Then allowing for more interesting tunnel shapes and tighter tunneling shapes. So when you add tunneling onto paths, I don't know if you've noticed this, you probably have, it just destroys the entire earth around it. I think it would be cool to have like circle tunnels. I think something like so, because the way it is, you just have to build your path. You just have to build a tunnel around it because otherwise it's just going to look like crap. And then this is something that Planet Coaster has, Planet Coaster 2 has that Planet Zoo could use, is allow editing terrain with paths. So you could edit terrain and the path would adjust with it. Again, something I'm not sure if they need a whole new game engine to be able to do that. Makes an argument for there should be a Planet Zoo 2, which I think they will. I just don't see why they would not, considering Planet Zoo makes Frontier most of their money. So I think Planet Zoo 2 is imminent. Just how long, that's the big question. So just kind of improving terrain interactions between the path and water and fences. Those kind of all coincide together to make one big frustrating amalgamation, but I think they could be improved. Not sure if it's an engine requirement, but we'll see if they can make any updates on that, because it's definitely been something people have requested for a while. So, better guest interactions as well. I'm sure everyone in the game has built a habitat, put the fences right up to the edge of it, which is no easy task, and then realized, oh shoot, the guests are phasing through the exhibit because the guests actually step off the path a little bit to look at the animals. And sometimes they step off the path through a wall into your exhibit, and they don't consider themselves as being part of the exhibit, but they are in there. And so that's definitely one of the most frustrating things. It happened for my entrance exhibit. So I think one way you could really easily fix this is either shrink the actual guest traversable area on the path by like 0.25 meters, just so that there's a little bit of an edge there. Or you could just make it so that they step to the edge of the path instead of stepping off the path. I don't know why that's something that hasn't been implemented. Maybe it's something to be like, hey, you should have a little barrier between the fence and your actual like guest path. But some exhibits, you definitely want guests to be able to get all the way to the glass, especially if you're doing like a building with little exhibits in it. So that's all I'm going to say on that one. The next one's probably going to be really short, but that's going to be better textures. I also probably should have gotten a better image for this because it's pretty low. But just kind of improving the bump maps and resolution on different path types to make paths look more detailed. These paths in the game don't really look great. And so most of the time you find yourself building custom paths, at least I do. In fact, almost all of my paths are custom now that I've kind of started getting really into the game. So I'd love to see better path textures to make it so that you could use the in-game paths without it looking too bad. And not all the paths look bad. And I definitely do use some of the in-game paths for different details, but I think different path textures will work well, and more queue and staff paths, especially staff paths. Please, Frontier, give us null staff paths, because that would be amazing. And yeah, I think that's going to be it for this video. Like I said, kind of a shorter one, but I think that it's definitely something Planet Zoo needs and can really improve Planet Zoo, make it especially more useful for new players, because there is a super steep learning curve on Planet Zoo, and pathing is one of the things that really messes up people early on. So I might actually have a video of things to make Planet Zoo more new player friendly, because it's definitely not new player friendly. It takes a lot of work to build anything good. So if you do want to see that kind of content, go ahead and like this video, and that will kind of let me know that you want to see that. Without any further ado, I'm Greyhammer, and I'll see you in the next episode. Goodbye now.